This is a presentation on communicating with families. In 2 weeks, you will have a Parent Resource Packet 2. The objective of this assignment is to help promote productive relationships with families. This mini lecture should give you a plethora of ideas. Also, I try to say parent/caregiver because many of our children may be living with grandparents or aunts or even be foster children. But if I forget and just say parents, please forgive me. Apologies up front. For those of you pursuing your CDA, you will notice to establish positive and productive relationships with families is Competency Statement 4. Instead of the Parent Resource Packet, you will be writing Competency Goal 4 and its related resources. If you are not a CDA candidate, just ignore what I just said. These 4 bullets are probably unwritten laws of parent involvement. Our families are very busy people and feel that we are responsible for teaching their children. Many parents, caregivers may feel that they are not capable. And of course, they are ultimately only concerned with their program, so communicate with each family starts with the child. The last point is the most important. Our children love us, but it's the parents, caregivers that exert the most influence. Here are a few upfront hints. Most of the centers I've been involved with had parents, caregivers fill out a form of their expectation of their child's experience with us. What did they want them to learn? We also ask about nighttime routines so we could begin to understand why the child that spends the weekend with Dad falls asleep in the reading corner, and that Monday is Mom's bowling night, so that child gets to bed late and is often not in a very good mood Tuesday morning because Mom had to drag him out of bed. These are behaviors we can accommodate because we understand the reason for the behavior. Sometimes the same holds true for a parent-caregiver's expectation for certain behaviors. A parent that expects a child to have homework might be the same parent that struggled in school because no one ever helped them with their homework, or the grandmother that refuses to let her granddaughter play in the sand because she gets dirty. Grandmother does not have a washer-dryer, so to go to the laundromat is a big deal for this grandmother. If you've encountered similar situations, please feel free to share them in the discussion board this week. So what does research show? Getting parents involved is not about us as teachers, but for the children. Involved parents create successful children. Bullet 2. Here again, it's not about us. We are there for the families. What do they need? Does this mean that we don't try to educate parents on developmentally appropriate and how important play is? Of course not, but we need to make it relevant. We need to get family members into our classrooms. They need to be part of the culture of our classrooms, a concept that we'll address in more depth next week. Every family member has something they are good at. We've had teens come in and help our children with apps and computer games. They begin to read real books to the toddlers and preschooler and soon develop a reading interest themselves. The corporate mom that talked about advertising and helped our children design posters. That was a fun experience for everybody, and Mom continued to visit our classroom on a regular basis after that. Her shy daughter soon became outgoing, and Mom commented that she seemed to understand her daughter better. Wahoo! If we're going to invite families into your classroom, though, you need food. To spend a week preparing menus and getting ready for the event is a fabulous activity. Everybody loves it. You may go home exhausted after the event, but to hear parents and caregivers talk about it days later is all the reward that we need. We have to become partners with our families. We usually want the same things. We just have to settle on a way to get there. Some parents will never be involved. Do we take it personally? Hopefully not. Families are busy. Some caregivers work 2 jobs just so they won't need assistance. Some parents are shy. They feel that they are in competition with the parents that can buy their children everything, or the parent that feels uncomfortable in our classroom. Our classroom are foreign places to many parents. They can't even sit in our little chairs, let alone fit into the reading area. Guilt? Oh yeah. Many parents would prefer to stay home with their children, but they just can't, so they feel guilty. It is up to us to assure them that this is okay and that they're doing the very best for their children. And of course, some cultures have different ideas about being involved. Some cultures pride themselves that they can afford to have their children in a child care and feel no need to be involved. We often have our work cut out for us when dealing with all of these issues, but it's up to us as professionals to make parents and families feel welcome. They have come onto our turf after all. You are the expert, so warmly welcome families every single day, even if it's from across the room. Yes, we hate that parents just throw their children in the door, but a smile and have a great day certainly can't hurt a thing. Always, always use their names. In the centers that I've been involved with, we usually used first names, but it was always preceded with Mrs. or Ms. or Mr. So what's the best things you can do? Listen, 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 listen. We often talk to children until we feel that our mouths are going to fall off. With parents, you will need to listen until you feel that your ears will fall off. Don't ever be too anxious to give advice. Questions are far better than advice. Accept the parent for where he or she is in understanding about their child and child development as a whole. Parents know what they know. With the Google and the World Wide Web, parents read and understand at different stages. Let them explain to you what they know and understand. Then you can begin the education process. I had a father once that gave his child an attitude adjustment if his son had a bad day, which was often. I took to not sharing with the father how Todd's day had really gone. This dad was quite perceptive and told me that he was aware when Todd had had a bad day. Todd might still receive the attitude adjustment, but Dad always talked to him about why he was receiving this punishment and what he could do the next day to not get into the same situation. So we both agreed that the reasoning and Todd beginning to understand what was expected was what was most important. It's not up to us to change parents, just to help them better understand where children are in their development, what they are capable of, and how best to get them there. Once you can accept a parent caregiver for who they are, the sooner you will open all of the communication channels. We scaffold our children with their learning. We certainly can scaffold our families as well. We are not better because we are educated. We are partners, both bringing important parts of the child to the table. There's definitely not a perfect family, and I'm continually amazed at how some families work so successfully. So these are just research-based results. They certainly make sense. As you do your own research with your families, you may well discover that many of these traits exist in what has come to be known as cooperative families, the easy families to work with. But these are also starting points for us as teachers. We can help families integrate these into their daily lives, even if we have to plan the family event. Potluck suppers always worked well in the centers I was involved with, and around the holidays we always did make-your-own gift wrap sessions, anything that had children and families together. We modeled communication at these times. We used our best encouragement words to adults and children. We were often continually amazed that parents know so little. You don't need a license to become a parent, and few schools teach parenting, so it's up to us most of the time. Yes, it's often frustrating and time-consuming, and sometimes parents, caregivers take longer to learn something than even our smallest children. But in the end, it is worth it. Research continues to show, and we know it anyway, children are better for it. Their behavior is better, their attitude is better, their social emotional development is better. Life is good when we have family involvement. Okay, your first project assignment will be a parent resource packet. This is just a few pages or even a PowerPoint presentation that you could use with parents. Its objective is to help you establish productive relationships with families. It will reflect how you will and do encourage family involvement. Some of you have had family events. These certainly may be included. Your presentation/paper must also reflect how you will include cultural traditions and customs. This is a broad definition of the assignment, but I want it to be applicable to your own situation, and it certainly should be creative. And it needs to be your own words. Remember, if your Turnitin.com score is higher than 10%, your work is suspect and will usually result in a lower grade, so check it before you submit it. College work allows you to begin to develop your own voice and your own words for the profession. So let this be a beginning for you. Feel free to use this information in your assignments, or I think you can print off one slide and use it on a bulletin board or wherever you think that it might be helpful. Okay.